Buddham 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 Vande Dhammang 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 Vande Sanghang 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 Vande Buddhang Dhammang Sanghang Vande Samanta Cakkavalesu Atra Gaccantu Devata Sandhammang Munirajassa Sunanto Sagga Mokkadam Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayam Badanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayam Badanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayam Badanta Namo Tansa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhansa Namo Tansa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhansa Namo Tansa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhansa Sabbe Satta Bhavantu Sukhitanta. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, today we are going to discuss the two pillars that Buddhist teachings stand on. Can you guess that what we are going to discuss? What are the two pillars in Buddhism that all doctrines depend on?
I would say mindfulness and reason.
Yes, that is also very important. But here we have taken another topic, but we will discuss further. When we consider, when we think the Buddha's message, all Buddhist doctrines focus on getting rid of suffering. That is the main purpose of everyone in this world. We do everything in the name of happiness. We study, we do jobs, we take care of our relatives, we do everything for our inner peace. But unfortunately, the only thing that we lose every day is happiness. The reason is that we usually think happiness comes from outside. We always waiting for happiness looking at outside. And also, our happiness depends on material things and persons. That is why we lose our real happiness. In this situation, Buddhism points out how we get the real happiness. Here, first of all, it is very important to understand the qualities of the Dhamma, what Buddha explained us. There are 6 qualities, the Buddha's message. Buddha realized, discovered, and proclaimed the world reality as it is. It is not his own idea. Buddha says very clearly, whether a Buddha appears or not in the world, this truth is forever. We say this is Buddhism because Buddha realized by himself. But Buddha says, this message doesn't belong to even the Buddha. This message belongs to everyone who is intelligent in this world. Anyone can realize by himself. That is why one of the qualities in Buddhism is that Buddha says, this Dhamma is to be realized by the wise. Dhamma is Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo in Pali words, in Buddha's language. Dhamma is well expounded. Sanditthiko, visible results. Akaliko, immediately effective. Ehipassiko, calling one to come and see. Opanaiko, leading onwards. Pacchatthang vedithabbo vinyohi. This Dhamma is to be realized by the wise. Personally realized. Personally realized. That is the important thing. Buddha says, I am only a teacher. It is very interesting. When we discuss Buddha's message, we can find a lot of doctrines that Buddha has explained in his 45 years as a Buddha. Buddha attained enlightenment at the age of 35. He passed away at the age of 80. As a Buddha, he spent 45 years. In his entire life, what he explained can be included into two. That is why I have taken a topic, the two pillars that Buddhist teachings stand on. What are the pillars that I have taken here? One of them is loving kindness. Loving kindness is one of the pillars. And also the other one is wisdom. These are the two pillars that Buddhist doctrines stand on. All of them focus on our inner peace. And here, as we mentioned before, it is very important to understand, realize what are the real enemies who steal our inner peace. There are three reasons, enemies who steal our inner peace, happiness. Who they are? Yes, greed, anger and delusion, or craving, hatred and ignorance. These are the real enemies that we should realize. Greed, anger and delusion. In the primary level, we practice generosity or charity, offering something to others in the name of getting rid of greed. But it is only a primary technique. When we are going to overcome anger, we practice loving kindness. Actually, that is also one of the primary techniques. It is not the ultimate solution. The important thing is reducing or getting rid of ignorance. Ignorance is the main reason that greed and anger arise. These are like the other switch at home. These are like fridge, microwave, like that. How about this one? It is like main switch or trip switch. And if we can put off main switch or trip switch, then suddenly all other defilements, negative thoughts, reduce. And however, little by little, we have to overcome these primary defilements on the path of liberation. And that is why here we practice loving kindness. We always think, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. One of the main reasons that we suffer is anger. If we can overcome anger, actually we are so fortunate. We can overcome a lot of stress in our mind. When we are kind, when we are compassionate, we are generous. We are ready to offer something to others. That is why in Buddhist tradition, practicing generosity is one of the primary qualities. Until we start generosity, it is very difficult to practice other qualities. When we are kind, we are always ready to something to others, at least a bottle of water. That is the start. And however, when we practice loving kindness again and again, if we can increase the duration of practicing loving kindness, we are so compassionate, we are so kind, friendly with everyone. Always we bless others. Always we wish others success like our success. We are so compassionate when other people are suffering. We try to help them. Even though sometimes we can't help them mentally, we wish their success. We wish may they be free from suffering. And when we practice loving kindness, we have not only loving kindness, but we have sympathetic joy. Sympathetic joy. It means mudita. We are happy when other people are successful. Jealousy is one of the negative emotion in our mind. When other people succeed, we think that is like our success. You know, parents never hate when their children are successful. Sometimes they like more their children's success than their own success. We are also like that when we practice loving kindness. Because we know very well, although in this life other people are outside, they were our close relatives and friends in our samsaric journey. We are happy when other people succeed. That is why sympathetic joy is related to loving kindness. And also when other people are suffering, we are so compassionate. Therefore, compassion. Compassion also one of the qualities that relates to loving kindness. And also there is another quality, equanimity. Equanimity, upekka. We have a balanced mind. Sometimes we can't control others. Sometimes we are unable to control others' suffering. Then we think the karmic law. This is their fate. This is their karmic law, we can't change. Even Buddha couldn't change some relatives' problems. In this situation, we try to help others, but sometimes we can't control others' lives. Even our children. Even though we help them, sometimes we can't change their fate. Then our mind is in equanimity. We have a balanced mind. These four things are interrelated. Loving kindness, sympathetic joy, compassion, and equanimity. These are the qualities that Brahmas in the higher realm, Brahma realms beings practice. Buddha says these four things are four sublime states. Chattari Brahma Viharani. Four sublime states. Loving kindness, metta, sympathetic joy, mudita, compassion, karuna, equanimity, upekka. These four things with whom the Brahmas live. If we can live with these four things, we are like Brahmas, divine beings, bearing a human physical body. Physically, mentally, we are like Brahmas. These are some kind of qualities for concentration meditation that we use for our concentration as samatha meditation. This is one of the pillars in Buddhist teachings on the path of liberation, freedom, inner peace. We do everything in the name of happiness. Actually, if we can overcome anger, we can see the beauty of our life. Until we start practicing loving kindness, we don't start the path of liberation. That is why Buddha says, on the path of liberation, first we have to start practicing loving kindness for inner peace. When we think, may all beings be well and happy, sometimes we can't control outside, but we get a treatment to our mind. We try to reduce our anger. Anger is one of the illnesses, mental illnesses. Then we are healthy because we get rid of anger. Anger, jealousy, greed, ignorance, conceit, self-view, these are the mental illnesses Buddha has explained. Sometimes, even though physically we are healthy, mentally we are unhealthy. If our mind is polluted with these negative thoughts, such as greed, jealousy, anger, those are the illnesses. By practicing loving kindness with sympathetic joy, compassion, and equanimity, we develop our mental health. That is why we say practicing loving kindness on the path of liberation is one of the pillars in Buddhist teachings. On this path, we have to listen to Buddha's message again and again. The reason is knowledge is very, very important. Without knowledge, we have nothing to practice. Even though we have knowledge, if we don't practice it, we are like flowers, beautiful flowers without scent. Both of them are very important. Without knowledge, if we practice something, we are mad. Even though we are knowledgeable, we have knowledge. If we don't practice, sometimes we are cunning people. Therefore, knowledge and practice, both of them are very important. Knowledge is forerunner of all doctrines in Buddhism. We should have clear understanding what we practice, where we are going to. Sometimes, when Buddha was living, a lot of people attained enlightenment while they were listening to what Buddha taught. Listening to Dhamma is also a place, entrances, where we achieve enlightenment. If you are listening to this message carefully, with good attention, consciously, intelligently, here also one of the places that you can develop your wisdom. That is why Buddha says, listening to Dhamma also one of the places that we can attain this enlightenment. The second pillar in Buddhist doctrine is practicing wisdom. Wisdom is the most important thing, like a light. Our life is dark with ignorance or delusion. If this room is dark, we can't remove dark with some bags. What should we do? We have to light a candle. When we light a candle, the candle does the thing. We can't remove darkness. We have to do only thing that put on the switch. On this deliverance path, liberation path of liberation, we have to do only increasing our wisdom. When we are when we are developing our wisdom, gradually defilements in our mind decrease. That is the nature of increasing wisdom. Panya. That is why Buddha says, Panya naranam ratanam. Ratana means gem or diamond. Wisdom is the most valuable gem of men. Panyaya parisuddhati. Wisdom purifies our mind, negative thoughts, ignorance. Here it is very important. Buddha highly appreciates practicing wisdom, increasing or developing wisdom. How we develop wisdom? We discussed one day Panya Uddisutta, the discourse of developing wisdom. There are 4 reasons that we can use to develop wisdom. Associating good friend, listening to Dhamma, wise reflection, practice Samatha and Vipassana. These are the qualities that we can use to develop our wisdom. When we associate good friends who explain the deliverance path, we can develop our wisdom. When we listen to Dhamma, that is also one of the reasons that we can develop our wisdom. When we practice wise consideration, wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, that is also one of the places. And practicing concentration and insight meditation also one of the things that is useful to improve, develop our wisdom. And wisdom, the second pillar. First, we talk about one of the pillars, loving kindness in Buddhism. The other one is wisdom. Wisdom can be divided into 2. What they are?
Karmic law.
Yes, very good. One of them is the karmic law. The other one is the dependent origination. The first level of wisdom is the understanding of karmic law. Whatever we do with intention, physically, verbally or mentally, we will have same results. When our mind is polluted with greed, anger and delusion, results are negative. If our mind is pure with generosity, loving kindness and wisdom, the results are fruitful. This is the first understanding in wisdom. If we have this understanding, we never like to suffer, get in suffering. we try to overcome negative thoughts from our mind as much as we can. When our mind is polluted, we suffer. Sometimes we think that if I am angry, I can teach him a lesson. But we are learn lesson by ourselves, because our mind is polluted. Whenever our mind is impure, actually we have no real happiness. And that is why, with the understanding of the karmic law, we try to overcome negative thoughts such as greed, anger and delusion. On the other side, we develop positive thoughts, generosity, compassion, loving kindness, wisdom. That is one of the things. The second one, and the first one is the karmic law. The second one is the dependent origination. Dependent origination is the most important teaching in Buddhism. You know, these qualities, these teachings can be seen in other religions too, especially in Asian countries. Before Buddha appeared in this world, there were a lot of ascetic people in India and China who believed the karmic law. Not only they believe karmic law, but they practice some qualities. They develop their mind to the maximum level with the understanding of karmic law, but they couldn't overcome ignorance or delusion completely. They understood only 5 hindrances, Pancha Nivarana. But after Buddha appeared in the world, Buddha introduced the 6th hindrance, that delusion. And here it is very important to understand dependent origination. Understanding dependent origination depends on understanding the Four Noble Truths. The dependent origination and the Four Noble Truths are the heart of Buddhism. Both of them are interrelated. And here especially, in these qualities, by practicing loving kindness and understanding of the karmic law, we fight with greed and anger. Now, we are going to the final game, final war. With whom? With ignorance. We have the highest game, war, not with greed or anger. The highest game or war is with delusion or ignorance. What is the ignorance that polluted our mind? Ignorance can be explained in various ways. When we look at something, if we think there is something outside, actually there is something outside, but the important thing is, there are no flowers outside, there are no persons outside, there are no water outside. According to mundane level, according to common understanding, ordinary understanding, it is true. Don't misunderstand. Ordinary people may think that this is flowers, this is ladies, and these are men. They can say. It is true in the conventional truth. With conventional truth, we can never reduce delusion completely. We have to go to the second level in truth, the ultimate truth, with the understanding of the dependent origination. When we look at this one, only color comes to our eyes. Then we recognize this is a flower. Our mind is so fast. Therefore we think, I see flowers. Actually, we can't see the flowers. We can recognize flowers, but we can't see the flowers. We can see your physical body with 4 fundamental elements, but we can see a pranandu. We can recognize pranandu through my mind, but we can't see pranandu. That is the truth. When you recognize my voice, you can't recognize my voice through your ears. When I speak another language like Sanskrit, Yuyam Murkak Manushyak. Did you understand? No. If you understood my voice, you may get angry with me. I blamed you. The thing is, that voice and this voice is same. In the primary level voice, we can't understand. We have only the sound. When we understand it through our mind. Then the first experience has ceased.
And we create the image through our mind, right? According to that voice, and whatever we try to put the picture and we create ourselves.
Yes. Through our eyes, we see only colors. Through our ears, we listen only sounds. The first sound suddenly ceases. Then, after that sound ceases, the 2 things arise, feelings and perception. Then we recognize perception and feelings through our mind. Secondly, when we recognize the thing that we receive through our 5 senses, the first experience has ceased, but we don't know it. For example, when you drive, do you see the tires where you are in? No, look in front, you are here. When you go there, you look at there. You never see your feet. We also like that. We look at here, but when we recognize here, the first experience has been. When you climb by steps or bridge or somewhere, mostly we look at front. We never see the place where we are in. But we mostly think, because of our ignorance, we think that I experienced the present thing, the present experience. Actually, through our 5 senses, we are unable to experience the present experience. We always understand something which happened, which has ceased. This is the reality. It doesn't mean that our present mind is permanent. Our present mind, mental situation also impermanent. That is also arises with the conditions at the present moment. For example, when you think someone that you have seen, your friend or your relative, when you think that person, when you think your mom, now if you think my mom is at home working something, you are okay. If you think now my mom is very old, then you are sad. If you think that my mother is doing something for me, then you are happy. The experience about what we experience is not same always. It's different from time to time according to our present mental condition. When you think your friend who has helped you, when you think his help, you are happy. If you think that the same person has blamed you one day, then suddenly your mind is changed. This is the nature of our life. If we can understand this reality, we never depend on outside material things or persons or inside or our mind. Then we are going to depend on wisdom or insight, meditation, or reflecting on impermanence. If our mind is fixed in outside material things and persons, when those things change, we are suffering. If you think this is a person, permanent person, that you look at, then this person change, you may suffer. But if you can understand, you see only the color, you recognize this person through your mind, then your mind doesn't depend on this physical body. You depend on your understanding, your wisdom. Buddhism points out the way how we develop our wisdom through this understanding. Here it is very important to understand Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths and the dependent origination are interrelated. Four Noble Truths. Actually it is not here. Four Noble Truth means suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path that leads to get rid of suffering. What is the suffering? According to mundane level, according to mundane knowledge, people think sick is suffering, decay is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering, separation from dearest and nearest is suffering. These are the sufferings that ordinary people have understood already. But it is not a special thing. Anybody can understand it. Buddha realized this truth before he did his renunciation, before he attained enlightenment. As a prince, while he was with his relatives, he understood death is suffering, sick is suffering, sickness is suffering, aging, separation. Those things are suffering. It can be realized by anyone. But the special thing that Buddhism has explained as suffering is, when we look at something, if we think there are some persons and things in outside, that is the suffering. Buddha says, Sankittena panchupadana dukkha. Having some idea about the five aggregates is the suffering. When we look at something, if we think there is a person here, then I am not away from suffering. When you change, I am suffering. Outside, there is something, only the four fundamental elements. Earth element, water elements, fire elements, and wind elements. When your mom looks at you, he may say that this is my son. When your brother sees you, he may say that this is my brother. When your friend sees you, he may say that this is my friend. But you are not a permanent person. Your understanding who you are depends on according to their understanding. If you are a son, if you are a real son, you should be son for everyone. But it is not true. They recognize you according to their previous experience, past experience. That experience is not outside. For example, a person is coming here. Before he came, you have heard that that person is a robber. Now, as soon as he comes here, sometimes you may get upset. But after he came here, the other person says that this is not the person who is the robber, this is another person. Then what happens to you? Then first you got angry or upset, now you are okay. Then someone says that this is the person who did a great service to the world. Then you are so happy. This is a wonderful person. We may think that the suffering or happiness comes from outside. No. Buddha says, Nate kamayani chitrani loke. There are no beautiful things in the world. There are no lustful things in the world. We create lust or happiness inside. That is also impermanent. That also we create according to our present mental condition. It is not permanent. It may change from moment to moment according to present mental condition. When we experience something, if we think there is something outside, or when we experience something, if we think it was here before I experienced, that is also ignorance or suffering. We usually think that before we experience something, we may think that it was here before I experienced, and after I experience, that thing remains. But nothing. Our whole experience that we receive through our six senses is like that we are going to the mirror. When we go to the mirror, the reflection of ours was not waiting for us. That reflection arises when we reach the mirror. When we go away from the mirror, immediately it ceases there, without remaining anything in the mirror. Our whole experience also like that. When you left last week here, completely your experience ceased. But your ignorance doesn't believe it. Your ignorance says that until you come this week, this temple was waiting for you. That is the suffering. If we have this understanding, it means we are not away from suffering. Buddha explains how we overcome this suffering. And also, there is another thing. The second one of the Four Noble Truths is the cause of suffering. What is the cause of suffering? Sometimes people think that the greed of the reason of suffering. It is true. But people think that greed depends on outside. When a mom has a child, someone can say that the desire of that mom is outside the son. But the reality is the mother likes herself. mother likes herself, then the son is good, mother is happy. When the son is work hard for his study, mother is so happy. What is the reason? Is he kind? Is he compassionate? We may think that, but the reality is not that. What is the reality? The reality is mother likes herself. Mother thinks that if my son is successful, that is one of the reasons to my proud. And also when my son is successful, he will help me. He will treat me when I am in old age. Even though he can't help you, sometimes you don't wish some help from your children, but you like your proud, your fame. And also, if your son depends on you, you are happy, even though he or she is unhappy. For example, after you go home, if you ask your son, my darling, were you unhappy when I am not at home? If he says that, yes, mom, I am so unhappy when you are not at home. I was waiting for you until you come. Then, how you are?
Happy.
You are so happy. My son depends on me. Even though he is suffering, I am proud, I am happy. He has no any refuge except me. How about if he say that, no mom, I am happier when you are not at home. Please be late. No problem. Then, how about you? You are so upset. This is the reality. This is the reality. You like other people depends on you. This is the reality. Then, the second truth, the cause of suffering. The cause is our attachment to our life. We like ourselves. Even though we say, I like you, then I like me, but it is only words. Actually, we like ourselves. That is why we help others. And also, when they help others, if they are good, we are happy. If they are not good, what happens to us? We may get angry. We are angry with them. Why is that? They challenge our life. That is why we are unhappy, even though we help them. Sometimes, we have some children. If they are good, we are happy. If they have mistakes, misbehaviors, sometimes we don't give anything to them. Even their dowry, we give to other people or church after they have misbehaviors. We like ourselves actually. That is the cause of suffering. If we can remove this inner attachment, desire or greed, then automatically our suffering overcomes. The second noble truth is the cause of suffering. The third one is the cessation from suffering. The cessation from suffering means getting rid of the attachment or self-view. And the fourth one, the path that leads to getting rid of suffering. After this understanding, we find a path. Until we realize those three things, we can find a path. If we can understand one thing, actually the other things can be realized. And if we have this understanding, every moment, actually we have to do only thing. What's that? Increase in our wisdom. What is the wisdom? When we look at something, we should be skillful in our senses. The highest skillfulness that Buddha explained is the skillfulness in our senses. We have 6 senses. When we are mindful, when we listen to something, when we hear something, when we taste something through our tongue, when we get something through our physical body, suddenly we know that this experience arises at the moment, and also we realize it. When you realize that is an ambulance, you realize not through your ears, you realize it through your mind. And when you realize that experience through your mind, the first experience, the sound has ceased. Suddenly, we keep our attention. That is why, little by little, we develop our mind. Our life, our ignorant life is like a train which runs 80 speed per mile. By practicing meditation, we trained our mind to run the same way the mind runs. You know, when a train runs the speed with 80, then if you want to give something to a person who is in the train, you also should run the same speed. Our mind also very fast. We trained our concentration to run in the same speed. That is why we practice concentration meditation. Then we can realize this reality through our wisdom, through our intelligence. That is why we want to train our mind again and again. And it is not enough few minutes per day. We have to practice again and again. We should develop the duration that we trained our mind in our day-to-day life. That is why Buddha says it's a very important topic in Buddhism is Yoniso Manasikara, wise reflection, wise consideration, wise investigation. That is the thing very important. Wise reflection means the way that we think that negative thoughts reduces and positive thoughts increases. Yoniso Manasikara or wise reflection means the way that we think to reduce negative thoughts and improve positive thoughts. It is a very huge topic in Buddhism. This mental situation is very important, the thinking pattern. There are a lot of techniques to practice in wise consideration. The primary level thing is practicing generosity. That is the start. What is the highest thing in Yoniso Manasikara, wise reflection? Ditte dittamatta, whatever you see, that ceases suddenly. If you can keep your attention to this reality, actually you are away from suffering suddenly. If you are intelligent, you can keep your mind in the highest situation in intelligence. And day by day, as an intelligent person, this says, you have to develop your skillfulness in these senses. For that, it is very important to live in mindfulness. Mindfulness is the background of all things. These are the pillars. These are the pillars. The pillars depends on mindfulness. Mindfulness means awareness of our body and mind. We do everything mindfully. Not only living in the present moment, but we reflect on impermanence which happens to my mind. When you remember something, when you remember someone who has helped you, who has passed away, sometimes you may cry. My grandma helped me, now she is not here, you are crying. When you are crying, that shows that you are living in the past. If you are mindful, you can never cry. When you cry, your grandma is alive. She is not dead at the moment. You have given the life to your grandma when you cry. You are thinking her service at the moment. That is why you are crying. If you are intelligent that now I am reading my own mind, which has ceased, then you can't cry even though you want to cry. That's the reality. Whenever we are unhappy, whenever we are suffering, be sure we are not in mindfulness. We are away from suffering. We are with suffering whenever we are away from mindfulness. Have any question? Now, day by day, we are going to deepen. And actually, this is a very important moment that we are discussing this reality. This is also a place that we can realize this message. This is one of the places that we can inspire our intelligence, wisdom, mind. And actually, when we discuss this message, at that moment, we have no any defilements in our mind. Our mind is so pure because we are completely in wisdom, reflecting on this reality. And day by day, we should increase the duration of reflecting on this reality. Reflecting on this reality is the place where we practice it. Sometimes we can practice it closing our eyes in the meditation posture. Sometimes we can realize, we can practice this while you are driving. Especially when you are drive alone. That is a very good chance because no one disturbs your ears. And because you don't sleep when you drive. Sometimes you meditate, you sleep. But when you drive, you never sleep. You can sleep. If you have a very long journey, that is a very good chance to practice Dhamma, especially inside meditation. And not only there, anywhere we can practice it. If we can live with this Dhamma, actually at that moment, the outside persons and things can't steal your peace of mind. They can't disturb your peace of mind. They can't steal your inner peace at that moment. Whenever a person or thing steals your peace of mind, it means you are lost. You are not in mindfulness. You should be shy at that moment because now I am not in mindfulness. That is why that person disturbs me. Someone can hit you physically. Physically you may have some physical pain. It doesn't matter. The thing is, after that person hits you, what happens to your mind? You are waiting until you hit him again. Or again and again you think it. And that mental suffering is severe than the physical pain. Physical pain can be removed suddenly, but we mostly suffer with mental pains, sufferings. And day by day, if we can go forward on this path, actually we are the so fortunate people in the world. Buddha says, as an intelligent person, the highest thing that we should realize is the understanding of five aggregates. Every moment, five aggregates in our mind arise and cease. And also, as an intelligent person, the highest thing that we remove from our life is ignorance, avidya, and bhavatanha, the attachment to becoming. As an intelligent person with his supramundane knowledge, if he has to practice something, is concentration and insight meditation. When you practice this path, you have some results. Vidya, vimukti, comprehension, knowledge, and liberation. This is the real liberation. We can never get freedom from outside. The real liberation, freedom that we receive through our mind, from our ignorance. If we can overcome ignorance, this is the place Buddha says where we remove the heavy things. Until you are in ignorant, you are lifting a very heavy thing, heavy load. And whenever we reflect on this impermanence, at that moment, we are away from this heavy load. Then we have the real liberation, freedom. Not that liberation after death. The very interesting thing in Buddhism is that we can achieve the real liberation while we are living, not hereafter. But other religions say they are liberation after death. They are liberation or going to heaven after they die. But the important thing in Buddhism is we can liberate in this life. After we attain liberation, enlightenment, we can more live with our relatives and friends without attachment. But doing more duties than other ordinary people do. Mundane level knowledge people do help others only with the physical things. But we, in the highest level with supramundane understanding, we help others to increase, develop their wisdom, inspiring their mind. That is the highest gift that we can give to a person. Buddha says, giving Dhamma excels all other gifts. Sabbadanan Dhammadanan Jinati. Giving this understanding to a person excels all other gifts. We can give someone a flower or something, or food something that is useful only a few days. But if we can inspire a person with this knowledge that is useful for his entire life, that is why Buddha says, Sabbadanan Dhammadanan Jinati. Giving Dhamma, improving knowledge of others, excels all other gifts. Because we can make a refuge through our life. Buddha says, dwell with yourself as an island, as a lamp, as a refuge, with no other refuge outside. Atta deepa bhikkhave viharata sarana na anya sarana. Again Buddha says, Dhammadipa bhikkhave viharata dhamma sarana na anya sarana. Dwell with the Dhamma, with the world reality. What Buddha explained? As a refuge with no other refuge. Buddha never says that you should pray me, you should worship me, you should pay your gratitude to me. Buddha never said. Buddha says, if you want to pay your gratitude to me, the highest way, listening this message and practice it and realize this message through your mind. That is the real way you can pay your gratitude to me. When Buddha was getting ready to pass away, some mundane monks, ordinary monks came and cried. One of the monks among them went to another place and he was meditating. He wanted to attain enlightenment before Buddha passed away. He was hurried to practice Dhamma. Going outside, he was meditating. His name is Dhammagaru. Buddha says, you who are crying are not the people who pay gratitude to me. You are not the people who pay gratitude to me. That monk who is practicing Dhamma before I die, that is the person who pays gratitude to me. And there are a lot of teachings in Buddhism that inspires our knowledge. And I think you are so fortunate. Day by day, you improve your knowledge, understanding. And it means gradually you are getting rid of suffering. I wish you all the best. And by the power of all these meritorious activities, spiritual energy that you acquired at the moment, may our departed relatives, you can remember, you can recall your departed relatives, and by the power of all these meritorious activities, may they enhance their spiritual energy, may they attain a good life, and finally may they attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives. May they rejoice with these merits. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may guardian deities and angels also receive these meritorious deeds, and may they enhance their divine energy, and may they keep their eye on you too. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu tvaṃ sadā. By the power of all these merits, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may you attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca niddukkha, bhayam pantā ca nidbhaya, sokam pantā ca nissokā, hontu sambe pipānino. Dukin pelena sat, dukin midetvā, bien pelena sat, bien neti vetvā. Sovinte vena sat, සොම්නස් වෙත්වා නිතින් මේ හැම සත් සුවපත් වෙත්වා. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.